Hi there, this is Crystal, and today I'm working in my Project Life album. This is a spread from the beginning of August, and I am using the newest Citrus Twist kit. This is the October Here at My Table kit. It's full of gorgeous papers and elements, and because it's somewhat food themed, I thought it would work well with this spread where we were out with friends at a local restaurant for a First Friday celebration. So that is all I have decided so far. So I'm just going to put you on fast forward and dive in.
As always, I'm going to start by going through the cards and deciding which ones I want to use on this spread. So I spent a lot of time kind of second guessing which ones I wanted to use and moving them around and trying to decide which ones looked best in what places, and that's kind of the theme for this entire process video. This was my first time using this kit, and there were so many gorgeous elements. I wanted to use them all, and obviously on this small spread that's not possible. So I spent a lot of time thinking and looking at the supplies and trying to decide which ones I wanted to use. So just bear with me. I left all that in because that's part of the process. You know, sometimes you look at supplies or look at a kit and know exactly how you want to use everything. Other times it takes a little bit more, you know, moving things around and trying things out. So like I said, that's part of the process. I left it in so that you could see the honest to goodness process of me putting this spread together. So back to the cards, trying to figure out what to put in this one spot that I keep testing different cards in. I struggled with that one a bit. I really liked using this 4x6 card behind my little square photo, but I really hated the fact that it's going to cover up most of it, so I thought maybe I would just use the other half on that other pocket. Still have to cut it in half, of course, because there are two pockets there, but at least you'd be able to see the whole thing. So I thought about that for a while. The other cards I had there looked too dark. The rest of the cards on this spread are very light, so I didn't want anything that would draw your eye too much. As it is, your eye is drawn to the photos, which is how I want it, how it should be. So, so yeah, I was trying to figure out what else I could use there. I did go ahead and cut that card in half, and right now that's what I think I'm going to use. That does eventually change, so you'll see that here in a little bit. But for right now, I'm cutting a few things out of the cut apart sheet. There were a few elements on there that I really wanted to use that I thought would be perfect for this spread. So I added the one that says good food, good people, good times to the bottom right photo. And then I cut out another little label that says out to eat. Again, this is a spread about us eating out at a restaurant, so that's pretty much perfect for this. And then I turned to the chipboard. There were a few pieces on here I thought would work really well. There's the one with the plate and fork and spoon, so I'm going to add that to the square photo. And then I did pull out another one that says more of this, but I wasn't quite ready to adhere that down, so I just used a little bit of packaging and added that one as well as the little banner that says this is happening to that packaging, so I could have it there and remember to use it, but I don't have to actually stick it down onto any of my pages or pockets yet. So I'm going through the ephemera pack now. I'm mostly pulling out labels. The other things were mostly too big for what I have space for on this particular spread. So I'm mostly just grabbing a few labels. You know how I love to use labels on my spreads, so I can never have too many labels. And then again, going back to the cut apart sheet, I end up cutting out another little label, but I don't end up using that one. It was just too big to fit on this spread. But I did cut out a small one that says fun all around, and I will end up using that one. So I've said this before, but this cut apart sheet, of course you can put it through a die cutting machine like a Silhouette or a Cricut, but I prefer to hand cut them. Sometimes I sit and cut the whole thing out all at once, and other times I leave it like I did this time and just cut out the bits that I need, and then eventually I'll go and cut all of it out. But this was the first time I was using this kit, so it was still intact, and I just cut out the ones that I want to use and then leave the rest all together. Okay, so I've added a little label from the ephemera pack behind that pink label that I cut from the cut apart sheet. And I did that just to give it more color, just to give it a little bit more presence, and to make that sentence that's on the pink one stand out a bit more. It was a bit lost on the photo, but by adding that other label and giving it a little bit of a white border, it stands out more, and then it also, like I said, adds some more color throughout the spread. And then I'm gonna layer that little chipboard piece kind of in the corner and just create a little cluster. But before I do that, I want to stamp something on that pink label to fill in that blank spot. I didn't really have anything to write, so I thought I would just add a stamp there. So I've pulled one, I think, from the stamp set that came with the kit that says "It's time to eat," which was perfect. So I just stamped that before I adhered everything down so that the chipboard piece wouldn't be in the way of my stamping. And then I can create that little cluster and then adhere it down to the photo. I do add a little staple just to give it a little bit more interest. And then I'm also doing the same thing on this photo with the banner chipboard piece. I just added a little label behind it. It gave it somewhere to live, makes it feel a little bit more grounded, like it belongs there. And then this one was large enough that I didn't need to add anything behind it. I will embellish on top of it here in a minute though. So I just added it to the top of that photo and then trimmed off a little bit of it so it kind of hung off the edge of that photo. Okay, so I'm going to work on this card now. I like how it looks, so I'm going to go ahead and add that label above my photo and adhere that all down to this card, and then I'll add the chipboard piece right where I had it before in the bottom right corner. And then I think I do add a staple to that as well, but maybe not right now. Okay, so I pulled away the other half of that 4x6 card, and I've decided to create my own journal card for that spot. So I'm gonna grab just a piece of white cardstock. This is actually just super thin white cardstock that, you know, I purchased at, I think, Walmart. And I wish I hadn't used it just because it's not as bright white as the cards that are in this kit, and I didn't realize that until I was really all done with the stamping, and I didn't want to do it over. So now I know, and in the future I will use my better quality cardstock to create my own cards. It felt a little flimsy, and if you've heard me talk about it before, I really like the cards I use to be substantial and to feel good in my hands. That's part of the whole thing for me. So yeah, now I know, and I will use better cardstock the next time. But for this time, I'm just using this cheap cardstock, and I cut 2 3x4 cards because I knew I would never get it right the first time and would need to have a second one to practice on. So I am using this stamp set from this month. This is the Food Stories This Is Life stamp set, and it has this little box at the bottom that fits on a 3x4 card perfectly, and it lets you create just a little you know, like a little journal card. So you can fill in all the little boxes with the icons and the phrases that are on this stamp set. I'm using the burger icon, and I've used some peach ink to stamp that into the little box. And I did prime the stamp. I keep forgetting to prime them throughout this video. I stamped them first and then realized, oh, I should have primed them. And the smart thing to do would be to prime the whole sheet the first time you use it, but of course that doesn't ever occur to me in the moment, so I end up having to prime them all individually and clean them off because I forget the first time. Okay, so all that does is just make it so that you get a really crisp, clear image from the stamps. You certainly don't have to do it. The stamps still work perfectly fine, but I find that I get less of a kind of halo around them. It's just a crisper impression if I use an eraser and just lightly go over them before I stamp. So that's what I was doing. That is my journal card all done, and that is my challenge for you this week. So use the stamp sets that come in these kits and try and create your own journal card, or use some ephemera, use the stickers that are in the sheet, create your own journal card just on a blank piece of paper and see what you can come up with, because it's fun. You don't always have to just use the cards that come in the kit. There's lots of elements you can use to create your own. So that is my challenge for you this week. I hope that you have fun doing it, and I'd love to see what you come up with, so be sure to share in the Facebook group or on Instagram. We'd love to see what you do. Okay, so I went away and added my journaling to my journal card just with my typewriter, and now it's just down to the last little bits of embellishment. So these puffy hearts are perfection, and I want to include all of them on this spread. I do include quite a few, just spreading them around, and when I'm moving them around, I'm really trying to get a good balance of color. So I have a pretty narrow color scheme going on this spread, and I'm just using these hearts to bring those colors across the page. So there's some dark green, there's some kind of golden yellow, and then there's that peachy pink color. So I'm just trying to figure out which ones work best in what spots to bring those colors all the way across the spread. I tried one of the larger hearts with the phrases on that journal card, but it stood out too much. It was too big for that spot. So I'm going to end up using a smaller green one. And because I add the green one here, I actually change out the green one that I had on the photo below it so that there weren't two green hearts right on top of each other. And I'm going to change that out for one of the yellow ones and fiddle with it a bit because, of course, it has to be in the exact right spot, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it. There are lots of close-up photos coming up. If you have any questions about anything I've done or anything I've used, please feel free to leave those in the comments and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you back here very soon.